Welcome to the Burgundy and Gold Knuckleheads podcast. As always, you know who's riding shotgun. It's my main man, Reggie. What is going on, Mr. Reggie?
What up, Doe?
Man, it's the holiday season. It's the crunch of football season. It's the holiday season. A lot of festivities going on, a lot of money going out. Buying loved ones gifts, and you come across a deal for yourself or two, but we're not here to talk about Black Friday deals or nothing like that. Cyber Monday, that's in the past.
It is in the past, man, and I enjoy this time of year for what it is, but I'm not into all of the gift giving, spending, and all of that stuff, man. I mean, it's just.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I can confirm that Reggie is not into the gift giving. Every year I look under the tree. There's nothing there from my main man, Reggie. I can confirm that is accurate. I will not be giving him any grief on that.
Sound like you did. Sound like you just did. But no, I mean, it's just for me. Your boy, whenever I feel like I need something, or want something, I tend to try to get it at that time. I don't wait till Christmas. I don't have any kids, so it's not like I'm buying for kids or anything. So, it's just one of those things. Probably anything I want or need, I've already gotten it, So, so it's just one of those things where this time of year, just for me, just signifies people tend to get a little nicer.
Yeah,
around this time of year, right? Because everybody's like all getting into the gift giving and the vibe and the holiday season, Thanksgiving, and we decide we want to feed the hunger as if they ain't been hungry all the rest of the year, right? But
right.
We're gonna feed them turkeys and ham now, and then Christmas we give everybody Christmas gift. It's like so everybody seems to be a little nicer, so I like that. I like that time of year and everything, but I already hit up Prime. I already hit up Prime Day back in July. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I need to wait for Black Friday.
Yeah, it's Christmas in July. Is that what they call it? Also,
I don't know.
There's a lot of things. They get very creative on how to pull your money away from your wallet.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. So,
so
but it's all good, man.
Yes.
It's a good time of year, and all the good stuff. I don't like the cold. That's one thing about this time of the year. This time of year means cold, and
you're not a cold guy, Reggie.
Nah, they can have that.
Yeah. I don't know if our audience knows that Reggie's not a cold guy, but this week this is kind of a week specifically for Reggie, right? Two things. It's a game in the South. So that tends to be warmer. And even on top of that, it's a game in a dome. So the environment is a controlled environment. Reggie, that's right up your alley, isn't it?
Hey, give me the bump. Come on, man, give it to me. Yeah.
Yeah.
You give me a dome, baby.
Nobody loves a dome more than Reggie. If he takes off his hat, he'll show you the dome. But he also likes to be in the dome. And that controlled environment is never too hot, never too cold. Rain doesn't matter, snow doesn't matter, wind doesn't matter. Just the claustrophobia of being in a stadium is
man.
It doesn't bother Rich.
You can walk in and take your jacket off. Just get comfortable. Just take your jacket off.
But
don't worry about it.
But Washington headed down to the Big Easy this weekend to face a Saints that at the beginning of the year we thought they might be something.
We did.
Right? But they're not the same team as week 1 and week 2.
That's correct.
They jumped out their first 2 games and 2 wins back to back, scoring 47 and 44 points And since then, they've only scored over 24 points twice. Out of 13 games, 11 games, only 2 out of 11 have they scored more than 24 points. Washington, meanwhile, they had their 3-game losing streak, but they snapped that against the Titans, and they put a whooping on the Titans real quick and real early, jumping out to a 21-0 lead. As I was looking at this game at different stats and things, I just went to look back. You realize that Washington, points wise, so far this year, has scored 376 points. Right,
Okay.
still 4 games to go, and they are almost 50 points. They've scored almost 50 points more than they did of all of last season. Last season they had 329. This year, already with 4 games to go, 376.
Yeah.
It's a different team. It's a different offense for sure.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you're a fan of the team, you already know that our offense was pretty putrid last year, right? I think we were probably at one point averaging 20 points a game. Not a lot. I mean, we knew for many years, this team was not able to put up 24, 25 points a game
Right.
average, right? And so obviously watching this year in the offense, at one point we were the number one scoring offense in the league. So it doesn't surprise me. I mean, it's a good thing, right? To show that we have the ability to put points on the board and score when we need to. Um, so yeah, I mean, but this is good. This is a good thing. I'm not trying to minimize what they've done, but um, that's a good thing. But in terms of New Orleans, though, New Orleans, you mentioned started out 2-0, and they put that butt whipping on the Dallas Cowboys, right?
Right.
Um, in week two, they did that in week two, and then them boys proceeded after that to go on a 7-game losing streak. They didn't win another game until week 10. Right. So week
Yep.
2 was the last win. Week 10 is when they get the 3rd win of the season. And so they're not a very good team, but I'm gonna be very cautious about what I say about the New Orleans Saints, just simply because the last time we faced a team that was supposed to not be very good and we were supposed to go in and just wax them, it didn't quite go down the way we thought it was gonna go down. So I'm not gonna talk too bad about the New Orleans Saints. And let's be honest, um, they believe in some voodoo stuff down there in New Orleans, and I don't want no part of that. I don't want no I don't want no bad hex on me
Yeah, yeah,
because of something I said about the Who Dat Nation. You
yeah.
know, I do like New Orleans. I've been in New Orleans a few times. In fact,
Right.
I've been to a game in the Dome, and it's been a minute. And ironically, the game I went to, Drew Brees set some record. Just toward the end of his career, he set some record. We was whipping their butt, man, and a lot of Saints fans were leaving the stadium, and then Drew Brees kicked it into gear, and we lost the game because Kirk threw a pick six, and it was a walk-off pick six, and we lose the game. Kirk,
Yeah, yeah.
Kirk, mother, you know what, cousins.
Yeah. Every time everybody gets happy and high on Cousins, he has a tendency to do that. Didn't he just do that last week or the week before? I think he threw 1 or 2 pick sixes. I knew he threw 4 interceptions. I thought at least one of them was a pick six, but neither
Kirk's
here
your
nor
guy.
there. He is no longer
That's your
wearing
guy.
burgundy and gold.
Let's
What's
let
that?
the people know. Let's let the people know Kirk was your guy, not mine.
That is not a fact. That is not a fact. I will take credit or blame for certain players when that's accurate, but
Kirk was your guy, man.
not Kirk Cousins. Was that? I
Kirk wasn't your
wasn't
guy.
anti Kurt. I just saw him for what he was, the good or the bad.
Mm. Oh,
And
I
that
forgot.
was
Taylor
that.
Heineke. He was
Now,
part of the
Heineke's
Heineke.
my guy. Heineke's my guy. I will say that. I don't want him starting on my team, but if he was I'd love for him to be our third string quarterback. Again, third string. I'm fine.
Yeah,
Uh, but
whatever, man.
then none of these guys are on the team so far this year. Um, were you surprised before we kind of get a little bit into the game? Also, were you surprised that Malcolm Forbes was picked up?
Who?
God,
Who?
why do I say that every single time? I always say Malcolm Forbes, don't I?
I'm like, who the hell are you talking about,
Man,
man?
you don't know how many times I've done that. Even off the air here when I'm talking to people, if I bring up his name for whatever reason, I just need to say
No.
Forbes. I just need to say Forbes instead of Malcolm. Uh,
Well,
yeah,
for starter, who the hell is Malcolm Ford?
isn't Malcolm Forbes the
So it's just a made up person.
multi-billionaire? Uh,
Oh my god, man! We had the Adam Peters pause there. You know when he had his introductory press conference and they asked him what he thought of the talent on the team, and he had that long pause.
yeah.
When you asked me about uh Malcolm Ford, I'm like, I could have like, who the hell is that, man?
Yeah, he's
It's
a big
nobody.
rich guy. He was a former politician also.
Is that who
But
you were thinking
anyway,
of?
what's that?
Is that who you was thinking of?
No, I don't. You know what? I think they both can cover a wide receiver about as good as each other. Uh,
Okay. All
and,
right, let's get
and
back on track,
and
man.
an old skinny white guy and a scarecrow looking cornerback. They both cover wide receiver about the same.
All right, let's
But
get
anyway,
back on. Let's get back on track for people
Forbes,
who Ken
former
meant to say
first
was
round draft pick. Were you surprised that he was
Emmanuel
picked up?
Emmanuel Forbes.
See,
Okay.
okay.
All right. I got you. I got your back, man. Look,
Malcolm and Emmanuel, kind of the same difference, but go ahead.
Emmanuel Forbes. Was I surprised he was picked up? No, not at all, man. Not at all. You know, and I'll tell you why. Because I think at the end of the day, Malcolm Forbes, aka Emmanuel, can probably still play to some degree. They're going to be able to get something, and I'm gonna use this as an example, Ken. Our should look this. I didn't know you was going to ask me about Emmanuel Forbes. So who's be our sack leader right now?
Who's our what?
Our sack leader on the
Sack
team
leader?
this season.
Uh,
I think it's Dante
I haven't
Fowler, right?
looked, but it would it be Louvu?
I think it's Dante Fowler.
Okay, Fowler.
Okay, Dante Fowler was the number 2 pick in the draft several years ago,
Mm-hmm.
and yet he has still been able to stick around this league, whether it's on a 1-year deal, 2-year deal here and there. But he's made a good living. And after this season, I think we'll probably get a big payday from somebody. Okay, I'm not going to say he's not going to get, 25, 30 million a year, but he's going to get some good contract money this year. And where I'm going with this is ultimately is that there's always guys, as Dan Quinn said to Emmanuel Forbes, is that sometimes a change of scenery is good for everybody. And it may be something where someone can unlock something out of from him. He can go on. I think the kid can still play. It just may be he will never be the guy that we drafted and thought he would be for us,
Right.
right? And there are several guys on our team. I mean, hell, look at Frankie Louvu. Frankie Louvu bounced around a couple teams. I think he was drafted by the Jets, played somewhere else, eventually in Carolina, and then look at him now, right? Signed as one of our big free agents. So guys can go on and have careers in other places, and I'm hoping that Emmanuel Forbes can go on and play several years in this league. He will probably never ever be. I'm willing to accept that he will probably never ever be that number one, cornerback one shutdown corner.
Right.
But he could bounce around the league, a couple teams, make some money, sign a couple 2-year deals here and there, and be just fine. Um, you'll be like, oh man, I didn't realize he was still playing the league. That kind of deal. I mean,
Sure.
hell,
Sure.
look at Cody Barton. Cody Barton's over there killing it in Denver.
Yeah.
Right? So it can happen. And so that's a long way around for me to say, am I surprised that someone picked up a former first round pick, former guy that was really good in the SEC, played against top tier talent and tried to see what they can get out of him and squeeze a little juice from him? Nah, not at all, man. I wish him the best though.
Yeah, I just the only part that kind of surprised me was that they picked him off of waivers, because then you're paying the full the full contract, right? The full salary. Now, granted, it's only a 4 or 5 games left in the season, so it's a smaller amount of money. Um, but still, you probably could have waited an extra day or two, offered him a smaller contract to come on, and he probably would have taken it. Granted, if
Well,
you
you
pick him
don't
up
know.
off waivers, you're not fighting against other people. Um, but I don't know that there's going to be too much of a fight. Maybe like a girls' fight of people fighting for
Hey, man, you never know.
Malcolm Forbes. So,
You never know who, man, who might like.
I
I
know,
mean,
I know.
there might have been some other teams who thought highly of the kid coming out of college, and he may not be the kid that they projected him to be in the league,
Right,
but there's still maybe something there that they can get out of him. And at the end of the day, and I know we're still going long here on Emmanuel Forbes here, but I think he'd still be here if it wasn't for the numbers. The kid just didn't play special teams, and there was no way they were going to keep him on as like the sixth corner, paying that salary for a guy that couldn't get on the field. When you had
right.
all these other guys that would play special teams and were backup corners and were giving you at least the same amount of production, if not more, and also play special teams. So he was a
Right.
numbers guy here.
Yeah, and not only the on that part, but not that he had to be a first round draft pick, but if he could have just been in their eyes, a decent draft pick, something that, not a first round performance, but at least somebody you can count on coming off the bench. And I don't think they felt like at
Clearly.
this moment that they could count on him coming in on the nickel or dime package. So they
Clearly.
moved on. And the the Saints are now without their franchise quarterback in Derek Carr, who, like, with very, very, very little time left in the game last week, uh, injured his wrist and is likely out for the season. I think it's all but official that he's out for the season, especially when they're not playing for anything. No sense for him to come in. And it looks like another rookie is going to be
You don't think he
another rookie
plays?
quarterback. What's that?
You don't think he plays?
Who? Derek Carr?
Derek Carr.
I don't think he plays anymore this year. No.
Because they ruled him as a week to week because the injuries to his non-throwing hand, right? So technically, if he wanted to play, he could. Um, they've not ruled him out. They just said week to week. Um, but you don't think he's going to play? You think he's done for the year?
Um, I have a feeling that he will be done for the year. I mean, if let's just say he's out 2 weeks, and he with a cast or some kind of brace to protect it, he could play the last 2 games. Is it if you plan on a future with Derek Carr for next year, why would you risk hurting it more and needing surgery and whatever else? I want him healthy going into next season. Again, that's the evaluation for them to make and go from there. But at the same time, they drafted a rookie, even though in the 5th round, Spencer Rattler, who hasn't done very well while he's had his a couple opportunities this year with injuries to Carr at other points. Um, it's kind of a look and see what you got on the shelf there.
Mhm.
They really, if Spencer doesn't end up being the guy, they probably need to look at a backup quarterback, whether it's in the draft, whether it's free agency, whatever it is. They need to see what they have even at backup quarterback if they're moving forward with Carr next year. Um,
Yeah.
but and that's why I think he goes ahead and plays. He needs the experience. So far this year, when he's had 3 starts, he's thrown completion rate is under 60%. It's like 59.5 percentage. In 3 games, he only has 1 TD pass and 2 interceptions. So
He's
like I
not
said,
good.
for 3 games, that is not a resume that you want to have sitting out there for yourself.
Breaking news. He's not good.
Not at the moment. Not at the moment. I mean,
He's not good.
I, I,
But let's say this, man. Let's moving on from Spencer, Mr. Rattler there. Not striking much fear into the opponents, but
correct.
the storylines of this game, it's going to be twofold.
Yep.
Defensive returns. I think most people, as of the recording of this podcast, it's not been said whether or not Marshawn Lattimore.
See, there you go. All right.
Marshawn Lattimore.
When did we sign Marshawn Lynch? Go ahead.
At least I got the name right. At least I just said the wrong guy. Then just make up some.
That's what I did. There's a Malcolm Forbes out there, just like there's a Marshawn Lynch out there.
You
Go ahead.
You just Google some dude.
No. All right, ladies and gentlemen, speak up and let your boy know that. But anyway, moving on. Marshawn Lattimore.
Right. So Marshawn Lattimore has not been slated to return from being on IR or anything, but I think all signs are pointing that he's going to play. And that will be the return to New Orleans. Not only are we playing his former team, but his first game back is against his former team.
Right.
But what is getting lost in the storyline, which I'm not going to let it go unheard, Ken, but this will also be Chase Young playing his former team.
Yep.
We know him, Predator, number 2 pick in the draft, supposed to be our future franchise, build a defense around future Hall of Famer, yada,
Can't miss guy.
And here he is on a 1-year deal with the Saints and still doing Chase Young things, but he will be playing his former team. Right. So those are the 2 headlines going into this game, the sub stories, I guess, to the game itself.
Right.
It's going to be interesting. I put a poll out there, and I was asking how many sacks people thought that Chase would get. And most people thought he'd get 0 or 1. I put 2+, and then just try to be funny. I put one of the options as he'll just run past the sack. Got some votes.
Yeah.
He got some votes because he's just going to run right past it. But if you have anything to say, Ken, on those 2, I'll let you get into that. But I have a question for you: do you have any concerns for Washington going into this game, coming off the bye week?
If we didn't lay an egg against Dallas, I would say no. Right. But that always kind of leaves it out there.
So what's your number
kind of going what you were saying about a poll. I mean, I don't think it's too far off to say who will have what number will be higher, Chase Young's sack total or Marshawn Lattimore's interception total going against a rookie quarterback. I mean, he potentially could have, more interceptions than sacks versus Chase Young. But no, the game against Dallas teaches you never say never. I would have thought that Washington would have taken care of Dallas. Everything, their injuries, their backup quarterback, just they didn't have really much to play for. I think if Washington would have jumped on them early, like they did against the Titans last week, they would have just caved and been looking at each other, and there would have been a lot of cameras looking at Jerry Jones in the suite, and Washington would have been rolling to a win. But they let them stay in. Washington made mistakes and didn't take advantage of opportunities early. If that's how they play against any team can win. But overall, I think they're going to take care of business overall. We'll see how it is. I mean, um, I saw Alvin Kamara has between I mean, he is their offense at this point, right? He is far and away their number one rusher, and he has like 64 passes, I think, total. I did the math earlier. I don't have it here in front of me. His total yards of production between receiving yards and rushing yards is over 1,400, right?
Yes.
Um, getting close to 1,500 yards already with 4 games to go. Um, I don't know who it's going to be. If it's Luvu and a couple other people, man, you got to, how you spot a quarterback. You need to spot that guy and have somebody chasing him anywhere and everywhere, and say, I'll take my chances against the other 10 because that's the only guy that I think that can hurt us consistently for an entire game.
Yeah, Alvin Kamara is their leading rusher, and oddly enough, he's a leading receiver.
Yeah.
Their offense has not been very good. I think at this point, I think they're 20th in passing. Look at my notes here. Yeah, I think in passing, they're 20th in passing, but Washington
Right.
is 18th against the pass, 18th defensively against the pass. Sorry, I take that back. We're 4th against the pass. I'm getting my numbers here mixed up. By comparison, we're 18th in passing, and they're 20th in passing, which I thought was a little interesting.
Right.
But we are 4th against the pass, and we are 27th ranked against the defense. But the thing that concerns me about this game is, excuse me, rust. And you go, well, we was only off for 1 week. Give me a second. We were only off 1 week,
Right.
but they told us the issue that Jayden was having was timing. Right? When we went on this 3-game streak here, it was, he was coming back from his rib injury, and although he was participating in practice, wasn't getting the practice reps that you would normally get. So there was a little bit of timing with the receivers, timing in the offense. Well, went on a bye week, Ken.
Mm-hmm.
Timing. And we know that we don't beat everybody because we've lost to some teams that we should have. Most recently, Dallas Cowboys. Timing. I'm a little concerned.
Yeah.
I'm a little concerned about the rust factor. But if this team comes out and don't miss a beat and rust is not a factor, then yeah, I think that they jump out on this team early and put them away, and I don't think they're going to be threatened too much by this team. But I learned my lesson, sir. I never say never with these guys, because one thing they have shown me is it is not a guarantee. And whoever we play, we're going to have to bring it, and we're going to have to play our game. And clearly the run game is a key part of our offense. And if the run game is not working, you end up in 3rd and long. 3rd and long means you get in situations where you can no longer just open up your playbook, if you will, and
Right.
keep the defense on their toes and convert 3rd downs. 3rd and long in the NFL is a problem for any team.
Yeah.
Which is why the run game is such an important part of everybody's offense, right?
Yeah. I don't disagree. I think if you look at how we've done this year, I think you can pretty much determine how our offense is going to move and can throughout the game. Not that you're going to have times where things go bad, but look at the first 2 series, right? If you're 3 and out, it might be a struggle for the day, win or lose. The first 2 series, definitely the first 3 series, if you're not moving the ball, whether it's timing, whether it's their defense, whether there's no holes to run on, it's going to make for a long day. And when Washington gets into a rhythm offensively, uh, Daniels gets into a rhythm. I mean, last week they went back to some what I would say basics, right? They early on they were in a short game, hitting a lot of quick short passes, kind of getting that rhythm, getting that timing down, getting everybody involved, and then it just kind of opened up and took off from there. Um, so we'll see. I'm interested uh, in what the Commanders fan base is going to look like there. New Orleans is a good place for people to go. I know I'm looking on some of the boards. A lot of people in the Texas area are going there. I know people from the DC area are going there, and then you got the factor of, you know, Heisman Trophy winning Jaden Daniels just played there. So there's going to be a lot of people that are Jaden Daniels fans that may now be Commanders fans that, they weren't pulling for a team, but now they are.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting from the outside. Look and see how many burgundy and gold jerseys they are mixed in with the black and gold.
So let me ask you this: is this a must-win game?
Yes, I
Why?
mean officially it's not, but it's I think in the NFL, and this is what I've said for a long time: the teams that you're better than, that you're supposed to beat, you need to beat them. And except for one game against the Cowboys, they did that, right? You could say that they weren't, and in teams that you're equal to or better, then you go like 50-50. The teams that are truly better than you, if you can sneak out a win, 1 out of 3 on those, and that's how you play your season, you've had a successful year. You're going to get into the playoffs, and if you're playing well going into the playoffs, who knows what can happen, right?
But what makes this a must-win game, though?
Well, I think this is a must-win game because if you start questioning this, right? You lost to the Cowboys, you lost to the Saints, two teams that aren't going anywhere, and you have to look and say, what are we doing? We got Philly the next week. After that, we have Atlanta, who's trying to, they're fighting to try and get in. And then who knows against the Cowboys? You think the last week against the Cowboys should be a cakewalk, but it wasn't the first one, so why should it be the last one?
Yeah.
This potentially could be the easiest game. Um, Again, facing a backup quarterback, and it's the who is just now getting in. Rattler wasn't if Rattler starts, he wasn't the backup last week. He was third quarterback. So everything points that Washington should pull away from this. Um, and win comfortably. I think the point spread like 7.5 points. If I
I thought it was lower than that, but I
Was it
I
okay?
haven't
Okay.
checked. Well,
Um,
I think it's the most. Everything that you said there is certainly true and very accurate. I think for me, why this game is important is because you're trying to. At this point, we're in the driver's seat for the playoffs, right?
right,
But you lose, and then there are teams that are in the hunt that you're giving life to. As long as you keep winning, the teams behind you aren't going to catch you. But we are one game behind the pack. I think we're at least 2 games behind the next team that is um, in the hunt, if you will,
right.
because we're in the seven with the 7 seeded right now. But we got a nice little lead behind the teams that are behind us. And as long as you win, you're fine. But we're one game behind the Packers, and the Packers is the team that we're chasing, because if you catch the Packers, then you move up in the seeding into the tournament, and obviously the better seeding you are, the better position that you have to get.
Right.
Um, and this week, the Packers are on the road in Seattle, and and Seattle's playing for something, so
Right.
that should be a tough game. That should be a good game for them. So we're gonna be part of the 12th man this Sunday, rooting for Seattle. But then the week after that, they play the Saints, which on paper should be a win for Green Bay, and that's in Green Bay.
Mhm.
And then after that, the Packers go on the road for a division game against the Vikings. Okay. And then they wrap up the season at home against the Bears, which again on paper. So technically, they could go 2-2 in this next deal, and so
Right.
we need to take care of business ourselves, knowing that Green Bay could slip up, and we're right on the heels of Green Bay. And if Green Bay starts to lose some of these games, and you take care of your own business, it could change where you end up seeding in the playoffs. Because
Right.
we're not
Right.
going to win the division. That's not going to happen. But you can change your seeding spot in the playoff,
And
and
who
that
did
would
you
be
say the Packers play this week?
they're on the road in Seattle.
I thought they played Detroit this week.
Double check me.
Okay. But yes, to your point, the Commanders are in the driving seat. No, they may have just played they just played Detroit, I think. But anyway, but yeah, the Commanders, they take care of business here. I think Washington can and should win at least 3 out of 4. They could possibly win all 4. If they win this week and they play a good solid game against the Eagles, I think at that point they run it out. They taste the playoffs, and they taste the playing right. And then they go into the playoffs again, whatever seat they are, they'll be a tough foe. They may that 3-game losing streak potentially at that point could have been a big learning curve for them to get over that hump of what it takes in the NFL. But again, time will tell. That's a lot of woulda, coulda, shoulda, might happen type of stuff. But you got to get through the Saints first. Beat the teams you're supposed to beat. Can you slip up one game per year? Yeah, you can. But if you start doing that 2-3 times, you're not going to make it into the playoffs. You're gonna be looking back and kicking yourself in the butt for your mistakes. So,
yep. So anyway,
is it that time, Reg?
Ken, I think it's that time, brother.
All right, here we go. It's that time. Everybody's favorite. What's your name? What's your number? Where are you sitting as far as your confidence level that Washington walks away with a win down there in the big sleazy, the big easy?
Hey, I want the voodoo people to know I didn't say that.
Hey, let me just tell you, you walk around the French Quarter. It's just as big sleazy as it is big easy, and maybe those two go together.
I'm keeping my mouth shut.
Look, there's not a walking on the same line as Big Easy and Big Sleazy.
Hey, I like New Orleans. That's Ken talking over there. I like
right.
New Orleans.
That's right.
So for all you voodoo people, that's Kenny.
Yeah. Hey, bring it on. I'll take it. Reg, you want to go first? You want me to go?
You go first.
Okay. I look at this, and this is set up for a win. But I don't think I think coming off of what happened in against the Cowboys, I'm hoping that is not so much a wake up call, but it's a keep you focused call. And I think in the NFL overall, people stay focused. It's a professional league. There's a lot of money to be made by doing things the right way consistently. Not only your contract, but the playoffs, the coaches, everybody. It is 100% a business. And when you're winning, it's fun, but it is still a business. I don't see them slipping up again against a team that's already struggling, and they lost their starting quarterback. I think they dialed up and make it very challenging for whichever quarterback is playing this week. I can't give it a 10 because you and I both said we may never I'm not going to say never, but we may never go with a 10 again.
It's your number. You can do whatever you want, man. You
No, no, no,
can
no, 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 no. You talk about voodoo juju. Maybe that was the jinx, right? We all gave it a 10. Everybody was giving it a 10.
all right, all
It,
right,
it, it looked like a Bo Derek marathon around there.
all
Nothing but
right.
tens. But
So what's your number?
I'm gonna go with a 9. I'm gonna go with a 9.
Okay, all right. He didn't go 10. He went 9.
I didn't go. I didn't even go 9.5. I stayed at a solid 9. It's a strong 9,
All
as
right,
as
look,
Reggie
man.
would say.
Look, man. This game is set up very reminiscent of the game a few weeks ago against Dallas. Right? Team is not good. Team's not playing well. They don't have a good defense. Offense terrible. They stink. Backup quarterback. Players are hurt. Chris Olave, their top receiver, their best receiver, is out. Potentially could be out of the game again because he's in the concussion protocol. Taysom Hill, their Swiss Army knife, do it all quarterback, running back, tight end type guy, is done for the year. The starting quarterback is out, and they're going to rely on Alvin Kamara. Right? Seems like if you just load up and stop Alvin Kamara, you go in this game going away, and that may be the recipe. They're not good in any statistical category on offense or defense in passing and rushing. They're best. I think they're ranked 10th offensively in rushing, and we talked about Alvin Kamara being pretty much their offense
Right.
from that perspective. But they're ranked 20 or below in running, offensive passing, and defensive rushing. They're just not very good. So all signs point to easy win by Washington. And I myself am not going to fall for the banana in the tailpipe again, and I am not going to put this as a 10 either. I still need to think that, see that this team is a young team. I hope that they're still learning how to win. I hope coming out of this bye week that they're not rusty and that they did learn from uh, um, what happened against the Cowboys, where they. I'm not gonna say they took the team lightly, but certainly everyone said they win and they did not. They didn't go out and execute and perform. I do think Washington win this game, but I am probably going to give it an 8.
8. Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
And to piggyback on your stats, where they're you know most of their offensive stats, they're 20th and worse. You take out those first two games, and it's a lot worse than that. It's probably 27th and worse, because those two games, both games were, I think, an averaged over 400 yards and
yeah,
45 points. So, yeah, offensively, that those two games definitely skewed the season of the
yeah.
Saints. So
And here's the thing: and if Washington gets up 14 points, maybe even 17 points or something like that, and get them out of their run game, then I think they certainly will have troubles because, again, Spencer Rattler, at least at this point in his career as a rookie, is not good. It takes away Alvin Kamara's legs essentially as a running back, and he has become part of the passing game. They become one dimensional, and I know that's one thing that a Dan Quinn / Joe Witt defense is good on. They're predicated on getting to the passer, and if the Saints become one dimensional, then the game will be over.
yeah,
So, but Washington has to do their part. They have to be able to execute when they have the ball, put points on the board, get this game, pull a little distance between them and the Saints, and then I think they cruise to a victory. But unless they do that, and until they do it, I'm gonna give it an 8, bro.
I hey, eight is a solid score. I'm not gonna knock an 8.
I feel like you're trying
Lattimore
to.
going to have an impact at all?
I'm
Not
gonna
necessarily
say
an
no.
interception, but he's going to have an impact where he'd notice him uh,
Nah, I'm gonna say
plays.
no.
No, okay, fair
Nah,
enough. We
I
all
think
we
he'll
all
be
like to.
there. I think he'll be out there. You'll see him. He may make a play or two, but I don't think it's gonna be, interception, pick six, and all that kind of stuff. He'll have a
Right,
breakup, and then he'll stand up and probably do some showboat move. All his players come over there and slap his head a couple times, give him a concussion, and then they'll go back and do a play because he's doing what he's supposed to do, which is
right,
deflect passes. Right? I
right.
think we'll see that. His team will be trying to hype him up a little bit because he's back where he started. Right?
Yep, yep.
But he's not gonna get like an old D'Angelo Hall. We had 4 interceptions in a
Right, right.
game where he's gonna do a pick six. No, I don't think it's gonna be that.
Yeah, as long as he doesn't pull that hamstring again, because
That's what I'm hoping he does happen.
yeah, because I mean,
Get
if
out
he's
there
healthy,
juiced up.
if he's healthy the rest of the season, Washington just got better on defense, right? The last 4 games, they just got better. They got a Pro Bowl corner all of a sudden to match up, whether it's this week, whether it's next week against the Eagles or whatever. The rest of the season and into the playoffs, they got a Pro Bowl cornerback that they can rely on, and that does a lot for a defensive coordinator scheming. Right, you don't have to hide things. If anything, now you don't have to hide, so you can attack more with your other players. So we shall see. We shall see.
And that's my thing. I'm hoping that we get out of this game. Marshawn Lattimore's impact to me should be he gets through this game healthy, doesn't re-injure the hamstring, get his legs back under him, knock off a little bit of rust from having been on IR and that type of thing, and then he comes back and we see an impact next week against Philly, and then the week after against Atlanta. That's what I would want from Marshawn Lattimore.
Yeah, I would be all for that as well. But Reg, you got anything else?
That's it, bro. That's all I got, man. Let's go get him. Go get Who Dat Nation.
Absolutely. We'll follow up with the next one. Till next podcast. Peace out, knuckleheads.
Peace out.